for the week. But Exert, we were just going to take a quick look at Wallabies fullback in 2023. It's a big question. Is there anyone that really has their name on the jersey already, or who are the possibles? What do you think, Harry?
I think first and foremost, there's definitely no one with their name on the jersey. I think we still don't know who's going to play there. I think Bataya was probably putting his name in the mix, but wasn't doing quite enough to jump the rest who are also all playing well. And I think now his injury means that it's going to be really hard for him to push himself up there. You got the late run from Jock Campbell, who I think had an absolute blinder a couple of weeks ago, but probably needed to continue to perform at that level to be a real chance. And then that means that, to me, there's a few names which I'm sure you'll discuss, but it's a two-horse race. I think it's Andrew Kellaway or it's Tom Wright.
Yep, and for me, out of those two, I think it's a one-horse race, and that's Andrew Kellaway. So that's just the way I feel about it.
I actually completely agree. It's Andrew Kellaway all day long. The only reason it might not be is if they don't think Maki Nwanganitawasi is quite ready on the right wing, or, to be honest, maybe Tom Wright on the wing. But if they don't want to play Wright or Maki, then you could put Kellaway to fullback, and then you can play someone else at fullback. You can play Kellaway at right wing, which opens up the fullback jersey for one of the others. That's the only chance. It's you pick Kellaway first. Do you pick him as a winger or a fullback, and then work the rest out?
Yep, no, I agree. There's those that was just the calls for the 18-year-old Jorgensen. Give him a crack, chuck him straight in there, throw him in the fire.
Yeah, big Jorgensen.
But no, I just think Kellaway, in the Rebels, we've been waiting for years for him to be behind a good backline in the Rebels to actually see what he can do. He's just been limited there, which is why it's always been such a massive shock when the last 2 years he's played for the Wallabies and just been amazing, been incredible. Because once he gets on the end of a good backline and gets some space, he just makes it look easy. So I think from what we've been able to see from him returning from injury this year in the Rebels, he does exactly that. He makes it look easy. He just looks like he's got so much time and space, and that he's reading the game so well. He's always making the right decision, and that's always been my biggest point of contention with Tom Wright. Has just been, whilst he's certainly gotten a lot better, hasn't made great decisions. I think fairly consistently. We know he's got pace to burn. He can kick the ball, but just. I don't know.
I think it's a little rough. I think his decision-making this season has been one of the biggest improvements for him.
This season it has.
The brain farts which plagued his career up until the end of 2022, I think they're gone. I think the issue is he's not making bad decisions, but Kellaway always makes the right decision, or the best decision. So Tom Wright might be a safe pair of hands, but Kellaway just seems to go, I've got, half a second to catch and do something with his ball. I've just seen there's a little bit of space in the backfield. I'll put it through, and then hopefully one of the lightning quick outside backs can come through and we'll score a try. And sure enough, it happens. And he just seems to be playing in slow motion. He's got the cheat codes on, and he just makes all the right moves all the time. And that's why I just think it has to be him.
I agree. No, I agree. I think Jock Campbell, look, he got some time in a Wallabies fullback jersey last year. One game, was it? Yeah. Or I think the Australia A games, I guess. He played in those, a couple of those. But and he looked good for the little bit that we've seen him at that level. He's had some outstanding games for the Reds, but hasn't had that time this season. We haven't seen enough of it with Jordi Bataille playing quite a lot and whatnot. So I think it would be tough to put him straight in there. I think Eddie's going to go on form, and Eddie's going to go on what he's seen this year. And for mine, based on this year, Kellaway is your out-and-out choice. Wright's then your backup. And then if you have those two guys, both can play wing or fullback. They've both got to be in and around the squad. But Kellaway is your starting fullback come Wallabies test 1 to 2023.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I had a conversation with Kellaway after the game when he was down at the Tars with a couple of other supporters. He had a mate down there as well. And the way he talks about his own game, he just doesn't think he's as good as he is. I don't think he realizes he's got imposter syndrome. And I feel like that's one of the requirements for a great player, to never believe that they fully belong. So they always have to work their ass off to make sure that they do. And that's him to the team, mate. He doesn't realize how gifted and how incredible of a player he is. And I think it puts him in very good stead just to keep improving rather than resting on his laurels. I'm pretty sure he said, Eddie asked him, like, why should I pick you? And he said, if you don't think I'm good enough, don't.
That does very much sound like him. I think he's one of those players that we've said so many times last year watching for the Wallabies that, like, he has no right to bust through so much of the contact he gets through. Just we couldn't understand how he was making such good line breaks and just slicing through gaps. Like, sometimes it's just like, how are you doing that? But
makes no sense.
It's interesting. I'll go conversely. Like, I agree that it is good for some players to not realize how good they are. But conversely, I mean, I do like the players that just think they're the absolute God's gift to the game and the best player to ever play. And that's both the Ioanis, Zahn Sullivan, even if you're pointing to him in your video, Harry. Guys who are just like, I am the best and get out of my way. I love that.
Rico has one game off and Zahn Sullivan's pulled the Superman celebration. One game off. He's like, it's mine now.
Rico sat him down and said, never again.
100%, mate.
Very good. Well, look, I think we've nailed it. It only took us 5 minutes. Eddie's obviously tuning into the pod as he does every week, friend of the pod. Selection done. Kellaway's in there, Righty is back up in the squad. So you can thank us later. And what's my quote? If you haven't heard it,
if you hadn't heard it here anywhere else, you've heard it here first. Very good.
Some great stuff. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Draft Rugby Show. This was season 6, episode, was it 18? And I think we've spoken long enough now that Nelson doesn't get a cap. Yeah, in fact, he gets negative a cap for dropping out. We're going to make that a new rule, and it's implemented retrospectively as of right now. So how good. And we'll catch you again next week.
I do want to congratulate you, Craigs, on your last pod as well, mate. There's no more tier 2 rugby players with any more caps than you, so I can't have you getting the plaudits of all the tier 1s.
Vlaco's the last one.
Vlaco. All right. Thanks, boys.
Cheers.